What's good, everybody? This is AntoineX coming from Omaha, Nebraska, and you're tuned in to All Hip Hop at AllHipHop.com.
Yo, what up? This is Quese IMC representing the Pawnee Seminole Culture Shock Camp coming from Oklahoma City. We're here in New York City at AllHipHop.com. Check it. Peace.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man Chuck Creekmur, aka Jigsaw, here at One World Studios, and I'm here with two brothers from the Native community, Antone and my man Quese IMC. What's up with y'all? How y'all doing?
What up, man? It's good to be here. Good to be here, brother.
Definitely.
Good to be here. Yeah.
We are reunited.
Yes, definitely.
And you brought your younger brother with you.
My bro right
Yeah.
here.
So first things first, I want you guys to inform people as to who you are and what you do.
All right. My name is Quese IMC. Like Brother Chuck said, I'm a Skeety and Chawee Pawnee, and also a Nogozogi, Bear Clan of the Seminole. I'm an Indigenous hip-hop artist, music producer, been able to do film with my music, travel the world, been on many tours, been a part of many different activist social justice movements, also AAU basketball coach, assistant coach, and just, try to keep the culture alive through, Indigenous spirituality, movement, consciousness, and music, hip-hop, Native hip-hop. And just glad to be here in New York City, I hope.
What's good, everybody? My name is Antone. I go by AntoineX. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I represent the Umaha people, the Oglala and Sicangu Lakota people. R&B hip-hop artist, founder of All Season, a nonprofit dedicated to the native music scene, the native arts, and, traditional singer, and just Native person.
Yeah. This is Native American Heritage Month. How do I say that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's what. Yep.
Okay, and it's also Hip Hop History Month. So it's both. So it's interesting that we're having this conversation. So can you guys tell me sort of what hip hop means to you and how you all came together? Because you guys are kind of from two different eras almost.
First. Yeah. I guess I would say I'm from like the golden era of hip hop.
Yeah.
But the golden era of hip hop, as you all know, influenced the country. It came from New York, came from the West Coast, and it came all the way to Oklahoma, where I'm from, small town, and just moved me. I got introduced into hip hop when I first saw Public Enemy perform with NWA in 1989.
Wow.
Got to meet Dre backstage, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what changed my life was seeing, Fight the Power, seeing, all the people in the video with their fists up, you felt the energy coming out, and later on in life, was able to incorporate, our indigenous movement, our indigenous consciousness, and our story to hip hop. And so, just kept doing it all these years. And I would say I'm probably one of the ones who was there when that indigenous hip hop really started to grow, like in the mid 90s, to the late 90s. There were other native artists that were there too at the time. We were just one of the crews doing it, putting it down in Oklahoma City. We got to be in the Source magazine in 1999 with Dr. Dre on the cover. So that was a big opportunity for us as an indigenous hip hop group to be in the Source magazine.
Is that gun on the head? Dr. Dre was
with the fire behind him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One. Oh, when he left, the aftermath.
Yeah. So we were in that issue, and just as like an indigenous hip hop group, we didn't have a platform. Nobody was booking natives. Nobody wanted to hear anything about native hip hop or anything like that. But we didn't want to be a native crew that was just dope because we're native.
Right.
We wanted to be a crew that was like, damn.
Yeah.
Them natives go hard.
Yeah.
Them natives can battle. Them natives can get down with anybody, whoever it is, white, red, yellow, black, brown. We could compete, in the battle circuit. Not only that, but in performance as well. And that's what Culture Shock Camp was always about, to be able to be just as dope. And so that's one of the reasons why, we did what we did, because we wanted to establish a platform for our people, because there wasn't one.
Right.
And so, in those early years of the early native hip hop, man, to see it grow to where it's now, I've probably seen like 3 generations of native hip hop since we started.
Right.
And it's dope. It just evolves and it's, it evolves, and it's like a revolutionary change every time with different things happening in the world, and so that's the generation I come from, man, and it's just good to be here, just to come full circle, and other Idadis right here, rocking, the new generation, putting that music down that inspires me.
Yeah.
This new music coming out, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
that goes hard. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm feeling that, So
Yeah.
that's pretty much, like for us as Culture Shock Camp, me, Quese IMC, got to be a part of it in the early years.
Antone, I've listened to some of your music and it's very modern, like, which is what it should be, right? But I've noticed, because I'll say this, we're, like he said, the public enemies of the world is, and our shared struggle almost. Sometimes you almost always want to hear, you expect to hear that in the music. Now, I'm not sure if you have that in the music, but it wasn't the immediate thing that jumped out at me. So tell us about your style.
So I just want to acknowledge too the hip hop and bring in our voices to hip hop and being in native hip hop. When I started, I was influenced by Nate Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to Music and Me, the album,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad was, and
Yeah.
I was just in the back seat just vibing, and it was like, I like this. So when I started making music, well, I was singing traditionally, right? And then when I started making music, I wanted to rap. I wanted to just be the hardest spitter in the city, and I that's what I did. It was hip hop, and one of my first OGs, someone who was in native hip hop. I didn't really know what native hip hop was at the time until people started saying, "Oh, comparing me to other native artists." And then one of them was Quese. But I had been at Quese's show when I was in high school.
Okay.
I came to his show. He came to Omaha, Nebraska with Shock B. They brought Culture Shock, and I sang traditional songs there. I didn't even make music yet.
Right.
But when I tapped into music, Quese was the first one to reach out and put me on the stage out there in Oklahoma. So much love to Quese. It's full circle moment here. But hip hop to me, is voice of the oppressed and marginalized communities. And I don't never like comparing, but we share too in this little range right here. We share struggles. You know what I mean? Native people have been oppressed and we've been pushed off of our lands and put into terrible situations. And I think it's about unifying and bringing our people together, using the voice to do that. So I did stray away from spitting specifically, but that's just naturally the evolution that I took. Right. When I started making music, I started tapping into regular singing. Right. I say that because I grew up singing traditionally, which is a different tone and a different style. When I tapped into like R&B style, I got into that, and then I just started doing songwriting. Right. So I wasn't so much focused on being professionally trained like a singer, like with the vibrato. I was just more so, let me get a vibe out and say some things that's going to impact the people. And current artists of today, or recent, that influenced my movement, the biggest one actually, and I'd say probably the only one that I really looked to move like was Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle, wow, yeah.
So I would watch his interviews over and over, and that's why I founded All Season. All Season is now a business. I was looking like, damn, a lot of people rep stuff, but like what goes past that? How do we make this and get the legal names and start tapping into that world, maintaining who we are in that world? And one thing that he even said was, I wear what I want. I'll pull up in these meetings, but I wear what I want. Right. So I made it a point in my career, when I pull up to professional meetings, I wear what I want. Yeah. And I wear my brand. Right. And I'll speak their language my way. Right. But ownership. So I created All Season, and now we just got a distribution deal with Sony Orchard, and we're able to like put native artists on to own their music, but also distribute through Sony. You know what I mean? So it was just setting up deals in the way that I saw Nip doing for the people, and everything was for the people and community. Right. And so hip hop has been my lane to be able to, just bridge that gap between the res and the city, the hood, and to also just like say, let's connect rather than let's compete or which is the nature of hip hop too.
And by the way, when you say res, you mean reservation? Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure people understand.
Pretty much the native community, we lack representation in mainstream media in general, and especially in the city. Most cities that you go to, there's not a Native section.
Right.
But there's a section where you say, oh, who lives in Omaha? You say, who lives in North O? Oh, the black community. Who lives in South O? Mexican.
Right.
And who's west? That's white.
Yeah.
Where's the natives? Oh, they're sprinkled out throughout North and South O.
Right.
And that's usually how it is. So, you know, for me, it's like I want to bring that representation and start kicking those doors down, stepping into these spaces with y'all on different platforms to say Native people are here. And in the music scene, really heavy. We just haven't been uncovered yet.
Yeah.
There's a whole door, big ass door too,
Right.
that just hasn't been opened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to open that and keep it open.
So as we celebrate, 50 years of hip hop, where do you feel, the Native hip hop community stands in there? How do you feel about that?
50 years of hip hop, it's been I keep thinking about it. It's been brought up a lot, and I've been asked about that. What is Native hip hop? What does that mean for you? And it's like, man, hip hop has given us the opportunity to say something we can't say within our prayer songs. Our songs, our traditional songs, we have songs for everything, right? So our ceremonies, our culture, our everything is based around song. Right. So if we're doing this ceremony, there's songs for that. If we're doing this, there's specific songs. But I can't say, man, like the cops just came and did this and this and this on a prayer song. Right. So hip hop has allowed us to use our voice, you know what I mean, to express the issues that plague our communities. And that's, it's something I'm thankful for. And when I first started, like I said, I wasn't like too tapped into Native hip hop specifically, just because I was influenced by Nate Dogg. But once I tapped in, I was like, man, I'm Native hip hop, and that, and how am I repping? Yeah. And how am I putting on, and who's putting on? That's my main thing. And what I see with the generation now is a lot of the Native artists that are my age and younger, because that's who I'm seeing all the time. You know what I mean? I'm just not excluding it specifically, to exclude, but just from what I see, right, is everyone's starting to put on. They're starting to open up their eyes and be like, nah, I'm not competing. I'm gonna go ahead and work with. Yeah. You know what I mean? And push that. And I remember when I first came in, I had some OGs come up to me. Keith probably knows them. I ain't gonna say names, but coming in like, hey man, like I paved the lane for you. And you need to pay homage. And I was like, bro, I don't even know who you are, but much love. But the energy was like, yo, hip hop is competitive, and I'm better than you. And I was like, yeah, that's like, that is the nature, battling. Right. You know what I mean? One of our brothers, Artson, he's a b-boy, and he telling me the stories, and I'm like, man, it's not really like that with us now. Right. Like we ain't out here like, yo, I'm gonna prove to you I'm better than you. Right. I think that'd be fun. For me personally, I think it'd be fun. The competitiveness. But I also like that everyone's just like, hey man, let's uplift. Yeah. Of course there's always the other side too, but we don't pay attention to that side. Okay. What about you and your thoughts on it? 50 years of hip hop.
50 years of hip hop, man. It's a blessing. Want to shout out big brother DJ Kool Herc, just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I look at it like this: hip hop created out here in New York, created by the youth, created by the culture, whether it be from the culture of the people, and culture spreads, man. Yeah. There's so many things that are a part of it. The drum, the dance, the call, what do they call it?
Call and response.
Call and response. Yeah. And that reached us, that reached us in Indian territory, and it moved us, man, and we loved it. We were rocking along with it. And as natives, for whatever reason, we were just, if it wasn't hard rock, it was hip hop. But one thing I'll say about that, as natives, a lot of times, with a lot of things, they get overlooked. The drum, the dance. A lot of people don't know that within the Seminole people, the call and response is something that came from the Seminole people, Seminole and Creek people. And what that is, it goes, you, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. and it's a part of our ceremonies. The ceremonial ground I belong to is Chiaha, Gar Creek, and it's the last Seminole ground in Oklahoma. And after hundreds and hundreds of years of oppression, and what those songs were is they were songs they would use during war, against the cavalry out in Florida and Georgia. And the United States government feared those songs so much when they would hear them in the Everglades.
Yeah.
That they would hear those songs, and those Seminole warriors would come in and just attack guerrilla warfare style.
Right.
So that's why the military took those songs.
Wow.
They took those cadences and created the cadence, for the military, sound off, sound off.
Right.
So that call and response has a history that people don't know. So, even if it's just a little thing that, natives could be a part of something here in this country, we are a part of that, But with natives, we're often overlooked, But the way I grew up, man, it was like, we had to pave our way.
Yeah.
We loved hip hop. We knew where it came from. We knew it came from New York. We loved it. We wanted to be a part of it, but we wanted to put our influence on it, and do the best we could and try to, gain some attention.
Right.
And so, it's just an honor to be able to say that hip hop is ruling the world.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It's a powerful tool and mechanism. And, as Native artists, man, we're right there riding along with it, man. And for me, paying homage to all the ones that created it and rock those shows that I got to see as a kid that inspired me.
What I read something and I was wondering what you thought about this. The fact that I guess you can't do certain things or it's disrespecting the culture. I mean, I know that the native culture is diverse. It's not any one thing. But maybe from a spiritual perspective, is there any truth to that?
I mean, there's a lot of things that could be appropriated, like a lot of people that maybe do things because they see them online, and just out of ignorance, just out of lack of knowledge, they'll do something, whether they wear a headdress, whether like, or whether they're, saying something that may be derogatory or demeaning to Native people.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not the one to police people. I'm not going to go police every single person in the world. I just try to make content from where I come from or through my music.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, check out my song. Listen to my lyrics,
Right.
listen to my songs from 20 years ago, 23 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You're going to hear that message. And it's kind of like, informational music, man, that
Right.
can kind of just educate the people. But, these days, man, people, if they're not appropriating, they're, capitalizing.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
And that's what happens,
Yeah. So let's talk about the actual music. So talk about your music. I mean, it's pretty infectious. I don't use infectious often, but but it's dope. Definitely dope. Are you, swinging for the fences? Or are you like, yo, I'm trying to cross over. I'm trying to operate at that high level with the current crop of artists?
So right now, I just finished up a tour, headlining tour, sold out all through the Southwest. Sold out last year too, and a lot of so that we have like our in native hip hop right now. Currently, we have certain artists that you look at as they're on the top, and I'm one of those.
Okay.
So, but that I don't feel like I'm at the top. I feel like I'm just clawing out. My people are gonna ride with me regardless. So I don't want to say by having all of my people behind me, I'm at the top.
Yeah.
I want to say that's the start.
Right.
So coming out here, when I look at certain spaces, like the natural feelings that I get is I want to take over this. Like I want everyone here to know my music,
Right.
and I want to be like I want to show what I can do, because that's how I was when I first started rapping. I wasn't the best rapper in the room, and that irritated me. But that's just my natural personality. I feel like a lot of the best artists have that.
Yeah.
Like I have random little skills. I know how to skateboard. I know how to, anything. I'm a hooper. I play football. I do whatever I do. I always, if I can't do it good, I'm like, damn, and I get kind of like obsessive to be the best at that.
Got it.
So naturally, when I came to music, I can rap, right? Boom. Oh, someone said freestyle. Damn, I wasn't the best. Let me sharpen that blade and keep it sharp. Now I can freestyle.
Right.
Oh, someone was rapping faster than me. They were whipping and breaking the boot. So, okay, let me chop then. Let me learn how to chop. So that's how my career went, was knocking these little dominoes down. And as far as my fan base, yeah, that's I'm starting to knock these dominoes down, bro. I'm trying to push, not necessarily be. I'm not seeking to be signed or be on like a label, of course, because of course, like my big inspiration, like I said, Nip, ownership and being independent, independent success, and paving the way for the people. You know, I've done shows with Snow the Product, you know, and she's another one that's killing it and doing it all with like she's, you know what I mean? It's like she's not sitting there signed,
Right.
you know what I mean? Is so my goal is to get that mainstream crowd packed into these spaces, mainstream money, but not necessarily, not intentionally avoiding mainstream. But I know that a lot of times to get to that level, you have to do mainstream things. You know what I mean? But of course, it's to cross over. You know, I got my natives behind me, but my music, if you hear it, and I hope y'all hear it, it's not specifically native. You know, but you'll be listening. I go to shows and it's cool when I have non-natives come up. I was in the Mall of America in Minneapolis, and some young girls. They were I don't know what they were, but they weren't native.
Okay.
You know, and they came up, hey, we listen to music. Can we get a picture? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, damn, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And when I go to shows and I see non-natives singing, hey Nayo, you know, they're singing vocals that we sing in our traditional songs, and they don't realize what they're doing. You know, but it's like y'all are vibing with it. That's the thing. It's the vibe. It's the energy and the music. So, yeah, I'm not sitting here trying to stay in the native realm, because regardless wherever I go, my people are gonna be behind me, and I open that door. If you listen to my music and the way that I speak, the way I operate, naturally, you're gonna open up to that world, and you're gonna start. Oh damn, I like that. I'm gonna start buying from native brands.
Right.
I'm gonna start ordering from native businesses, and I'm gonna start opening up to that world, because naturally the person that I am is, when I go through, I wear stuff that's created by native people and try to put on for my people. So that door is open once you listen to my music, and that's my goal, is to cross over and again merge that.
Yeah.
I want to say something. This right, like this is a bro, you know, and one thing I'll say about Tone is that, like, real straight up native right here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who actually studies the craft, owns his craft, you know, inspires me. Like when I hear his music, I'm like, damn. You know, I like that, because I like to sing too. I'm like, yeah. You know, you feel it. And that's the new wave. That's the new generation, and it's dope. And he's carrying that torch like that. Right. But the dope thing about Idadi here is that he's a warrior too. Right. Practices the traditional ways, you know, the ceremonial ways, on the front lines, you know, at political activist cultural movements. You know, he don't just write about it and talk about it like a lot of these other native rappers do. You know, they make art about it, they make clothes about it, and they ain't never been on the front line. Right. You feel me? Right. This right here is, like, I would say, giving him flowers. That's real talk. Yeah. Because I'm on the front lines. Absolutely. And when I see young brothers like this on the front lines, I'm like, hell yeah. You know, he didn't come to the front lines and start selling CDs. Right. He came to the front lines, is like, yo, what's up with the hand drum? Right. You know, singing traditional songs to empower the people, inspire the people like that, man. And that's important. You know, that's important to acknowledge that, you know, and his grind, you know, his business and things like that. And if it inspires me and it's got that spirit, that's the same feeling I got when Public Enemy inspired me. Gotcha. Damn, I feel that. Yeah. That's gonna go somewhere. Right. You feel me? So I just wanted to acknowledge Idadi like that. So I hope.
Hey, I want to acknowledge my boy Joe in the building. Joe Crowshoe, another brother that sits on the front lines and does a lot of work for the people. It's you know, Yanajaha Quese. Joe, you know, it's good to be in here with them. But yeah, it's about that too. Yeah. Standing on the front, standing for your people, and willing to take. When in my music, if I ever mention anything about shooting, it's them shooting at us. And it's times that I could name where they actually shot at us, the police, the National Guard. There's a time in one of my songs I wrote, the homie said live rounds, and this is the homie. You know, he was running back during the Minneapolis riots for George Floyd. We were out there protecting native businesses throughout the night. And the city was really dope for that too. They were just targeting the major corporate, the ones that was, you know, that they do bad things. Right. But the moms and pop shops, the buildings for the people weren't touching. Right. But I remember the police were just coming by thinking somebody shot and started shooting live rounds at us.
Wow.
And he was the one that ran and like warned me.
Right.
And that's the type of stuff that we talk about, and that's the type of stuff that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The injustices and the
Absolutely.
all that stuff we go through as a people. So
Your last project, you talked a lot about a lot about people who have been killed by the cops. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like it was throughout the whole project. That kinship is amazing. What would you say is the relationship between Black people and Native people?
I feel like, the relationship between, red and black is ancient,
Mhm.
within every creation story, particularly within ours,
Mhm.
Pawnee and Seminole, like we have an understanding of, in a concept, an understanding of the stars, the star
Right.
people, and how the stars are aligned,
Mhm.
who comes from what star and things like that. And so in our creation story, we have an understanding of humanity.
Mhm.
And when you have understanding of humanity, of where people come from,
Mhm.
and in the stars,
Mhm.
you understand their gifts here on earth.
Mhm.
And in those teachings, you address them as so,
Right.
because it's like that kinship, that relationship that
Right.
you have. And that same relationship, we have with the stars, with the people on the earth, is the same relationship we have with creation, with everything, the creation, life.
Mhm.
We want to see the water protected. We want to see the animals protected, the trees, all these beautiful things. And there's another power that wants to destroy that.
Mhm.
Has no sympathy, no feeling for creation.
Yeah.
They can just destroy it and pollute the land and have no
Mhm.
feeling of pain. So if you can do that to the land, you can do that to a person.
Right.
So when we see these people, getting murdered, on
Mhm.
TV, our relatives getting killed, getting shot, and the injustice that isn't happening, it affects us.
Yeah.
I feel it. And so in my music, this last album, Land Back, Planets in the Moon, I wanted to talk about that because specifically I wanted to talk about it because I feel George Floyd was a tipping point.
Right.
Like when that happened, he tipped all the other names that have been slain
Right.
by this system into the street.
Mhm.
And when all those names got tipped into the street, the people came.
Right.
And the people were fed up.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one person, they were fed up.
Yeah.
And because of that movement that was happening all over the country, it affected all these major businesses. And I believe, this is my own personal opinion, natives fought hard to change the mascot, the Redskins.
Yeah.
For many years, they fought
Yeah.
to do that, but they never could do it.
I was fighting too, by the way.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But I feel during that whole George Floyd movement,
Mhm.
it was that helped the natives be able to change that mascot.
Yeah.
A lot of things changed,
Yeah.
and it's sad because we have to attribute change to pain.
Right.
But
It's
if you
true.
think about it, we come from suffering.
Yeah.
Our people, your people, my people, we
Mhm.
come from pain. We come from hurt,
Mhm.
but we had a strong spirit. And our spirit is what pushed us forward, a historical spirit. We always talk about historical trauma. I like to talk
Mhm.
about that historical spirit,
Yeah.
why we're here. So in my music, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the pain, but I'm like, well, what are we doing? What's the solution? We gotta be friends.
Right. Yeah.
We gotta like have some sort of relationship, man.
Yeah.
That's the bro,
Yeah.
no matter where you come from.
Yeah,
You could be
definitely.
from any country, but if we break bread,
Mhm.
we sit in sweat lodge together,
Mhm.
we become family.
Yeah.
And that's for us natives, that's important. For us in Oklahoma, to have, one of the founders of hip hop, Cool Herc, come
Yeah.
and sweat with us in Oklahoma. He sat and sweat with us.
Yeah.
On Father's Day,
Wow.
on a full moon.
That's crazy.
Those are relationships. And I feel like that red and black unity is that
Yeah.
because we're connected through the drum and we're connected to the bow
Right.
and the arrow.
Right.
And all those things tied together bring us life, it brings us sustenance, and the core of that is the fire.
Right.
And see, the fire is a representation, a relative of the sun. The sun is a relative of the morning star. Okay, so it's all connected and we're connected to it, So for me, I try to go back to how we're connected, not how we're unconnected and fighting over identity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the struggle right now. People are fighting for identity. Who am I? I'm this. I'm that. No, I'm gonna be this. I'm that. And that's colonization.
Yeah.
That's what the white man wants us to do. Wants us to fight for identity because they try to take our identity.
Right.
But the identity is in our spirit.
Right.
The spirit is undeniable. Knowledge and education, that's like a horse. The horse came with a blessing and a curse. That curse was the Europeans, the Spaniards, Italians, they came with the horse, but the horse was a blessing to our people. It made us travel further distances. We could stand on the horse, see further into the distance. We could carry our whole teepee with the horse. It brought that blessing, but it brought a curse, right? And so we have to remember, man, that with this colonization, man, like the thing that we can do is we can communicate. Now we can communicate. And so, you know, it's important for us to build those relationships. You feel me? And that's important to me. You know, red black unity, red brown unity, brown black unity, you know, white brown unity, there can be unity in all. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of death energy in the world right now. But the thing about that is that's prophetic. All that's been prophesied within many tribes. And so if it's been prophesied, they say within those prophecies, simultaneously there's a spiritual thing happening that is even equally powerful, if not more powerful. You just have to find it.
Absolutely. Did you guys see the movie Killers of the Flower Moon? Did you see that? Did you both see it?
Did you see it?
Oh, go ahead, say what you were gonna.
Did you see the movie? Did you see
Killers of the Flower Moon? I didn't, but I do have input. It's
okay.
It's
both of you, give me your thoughts on it.
My parents seen it. And what I liked about what they said, we went to eat. My mom was like, or my dad, he was like, yeah, there's a bunch of white people walking out. I was like, all right, good.
That happened when I saw it.
Because that means that they have to face what they actually did, and they have to look, and instead of being the white savior, everyone white is right, they're seeing the truth, which is that they have an ugly past of how they treated our people, all of our people, and the ugly ways that they take to do it, and how they're willing to do evil things to get what they want. They're takers. We call them the washichu, means takers of the fat, which means they're not good with just the meat. They want it all. They're gonna take the fat too. The washichu, that's how you say it in Lakota. Okay. That's what we call them, because they're greedy.
Right.
You know, and they live up to it a lot of the times. You know what I mean? So with that movie, I'm glad that we're getting not the representation, of course, representation in media, but in film. But I like that the stories are being told, and they're being told in a way that doesn't alter it to make them comfortable. Because we're always made to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And what I like is when they're uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable with our presence. Be uncomfortable with the truth.
Yeah.
And let's blow this truth up.
Yeah.
And of course, we want native producers, right, to do these movies, so that we can focus on other characters.
Right.
From what I hear, it's not focused completely on the native characters. It's more so this side. But for the most part, I feel like I've been hearing, even from the people, you know, that are families of these people in the movie, the native people saying, thank you for telling our story.
Yeah. I definitely got to shout out Martin Scorsese for that, because I cried in that movie, and I don't cry a lot. I was mad too. I was both. I was between the two emotions, and I was really like, I walked out of there like, damn, Martin Scorsese did that, and he's white. So it was like, you know, and like you said, the stories oftentimes get adjusted, or they might throw a little white savior in there to make people feel okay, and it never happened. And I was waiting for it to happen. I was like, oh, he's going to be the good guy, or he's going to be the one that does this, and it just never happened.
Mineral rights is the key component to destruction in this world. Wars are started over mineral rights. Wars, and the major oil companies were established in Oklahoma. Before anything, before Saudi Arabia, before any country, it started. That whole concept of oil infrastructure and the blueprint of how to get it started in Oklahoma. So if you look at that, wow, they started that in Oklahoma and off the death of indigenous people to gain wealth, stolen wealth in Oklahoma off the lives of indigenous people, women and men. Yeah. And they just took that blueprint all across the world. Oh, they got oil in their land? Let's get them. Let's kill them. You know, let's start a war, you know, all for oil. But it started in Oklahoma. And the natives didn't even want to be in Oklahoma. It was an unfertile land, the Dust Bowl. You know, but they said, we'll send them to Oklahoma. They'll probably live maybe 50 years. You feel me? And then they might live 100 years, but by then they'll be bred out. Right. You know what I'm saying? So let's write these treaties for 100 years, see where they're at. But they didn't know we'd still be here, you know, to watch a movie about it. Right. Directed by Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese.
Italian.
Right, in Italian. By the way, I
Props
love,
to Scorsese though. That
gotta throw
DiCaprio.
this out there. I love the fact that they throw Tulsa in there, Tulsa, the Black Wall Street massacre in there as well, making the connection to those, both of the tragedies at that time. You know, because that's a movie I want to see made, quite frankly, because we know that it was a it was a very different approach, but the same sort of end, you know, to destroy prosperity or people that were doing well.
Black folks were doing well. The freedmen were doing well up in Tulsa. The Native Osage were doing well. The Seminoles were doing well. Oh hell no!
Hell nah.
We can't have this.
Right.
And they do what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
And here we are.
How do you guys and you know, feel free to, you know, I don't want to stereotype anybody, but I know that I feel like we all walk around with a bit of a collective anger, a collective rage, you know, and I'll be honest, I think white people are like, I hope they never like act on it, you know, on their feelings. And I think that's why, again, they walk out of movies like that, because it absolutely happened when I was watching. There wasn't a lot of people in there, but the ones that were white that were in there walked out. And so I'm wondering, you know, how do you, if at all, you know, put that in the music? Do you not put it in the music? Do you say, yeah, we're not really there with it right now? Or what?
I'll say this real quick. This is really short.
Okay.
You know, when people make movies, they make movies to tell a story. You know, there's a old school movie called Dances with Wolves. You seen Dances with Wolves? I seen Dances with Wolves. There's a part in there where the Lakota take out the Pawnee. Pawnee.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that like, damn.
Yeah.
They took us out. But I watched it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. You know, even though the Lakota killed us.
Damn, took us out.
I enjoyed it. You know why I enjoyed it? Because we had one Pawnee warrior right at the end. And he looked around, he was surrounded by the Lakota in the river, and he said, I'm going out like a warrior. Right. He put his fists up, he goes, ah, and then they took him out. So I had to watch that.
Yeah.
Even though we went out like warriors. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right.
You know? So oh damn. And his arrow comes at me like this.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
I don't know if I understood. I'm gonna say what I feel though. When it comes to white people, I don't. And people think. I mean, of course, nowadays they be like, "Oh, you know, you said something wrong. You know, you're racist." Nah, it's just there's history behind that. And for me personally, with the business that I built, I used to be mad. I used to be angry when I see, like, man, like when white people would bring input and have an opinion on how I should do something. And it was like sometimes would even undermine or downplay or tell me to take baby steps. And it was like, why? If I have the ability to jump up here, why would I just step right there? You know, so I personally, I used to be mad and have this like little chip on my shoulder where when it came to that. But now I've come to a point where I'm like, man, like I'm gonna stop looking at y'all and I'm gonna start looking over here and try to put my energy there. But also with that, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm gonna always be aware of that. So now when I work with artists or when I'm doing anything, and a lot of times I'm putting people in good positions as much as I can, at least, you know, of course I'm still climbing, but it's get your business right. You don't need them because they're always there to take. Like we said, they're always there. Hey, I can help you. Just give me 20%.
Right. Yeah.
Of everything.
Right.
And it's like, okay, let's get you to the point where, let's all get to the point where we don't need that at all. Until we're absolutely need that.
Right.
And then let's find someone qualified within our communities and let's keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Give our 20, keep the dollar in the people. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So when I see that, I'm like, you know, keep crying, cry about it, you know? And if you're uncomfortable, cool.
Yeah.
And if I'm saying I want a native qualified person, then that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The same way that you guys chew us off and and you say white is right. And you think like there's people that'll look at me and look at someone white right next to me in a suit and be like, yeah, that guy's gonna get us in better positions.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this guy just has a suit. That's it.
Yeah.
And I have everything that I built. I have a whole community of people willing to support, and I have access. I have resources. I have connections that are willing to work with whoever I come because they trust. But because this person is white, you know, and that's what I'm trying to push out of our people's like way of thinking,
right?
You know, in general, like let's get out of that. That's been pushed onto us. Now we have to unlearn that. You know what I mean, and learn that our people are also.
We got it.
We got it.
So let me. I want to run something past y'all real quick. So I was looking at like notable native hip hop artists. Now we know about like Lightfoot and stuff like that, but here's something that I didn't know, and I don't know if you knew this either. And this is Wikipedia, by the way, so take it with like a grain of salt. But it says here, Melly Mel is Cherokee. Did you know that? Okay, I didn't know that. We know Ernie Panicelli. He's a photographer.
Yeah,
he's Cree. Soleil. Did you know? I don't know exactly. Soleil, yeah. Funk Dubious. That's a '90s rap group.
Yeah, rock on.
Yeah. Did you know Wu-Tang affiliate King Just and so was Old Dirty Bastard? They claim to be.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, okay, so King Just has a song where he goes, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. And I just thought it was just some fly stuff he was doing, but I mean, it actually is his heritage. Now the verdict is out on Apache, who was a rapper from Flavor Unit, but so we don't know for sure, but we'll have to ask somebody I know who knows. But what do you think about those intersections?
I mean, I think it's dope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe somewhere or maybe in their career, you know, they weren't to the extent as like myself, or other native hip hop artists or Tone, or maybe because they didn't have the opportunity to grow up, in indigenous communities where we're practicing our way of life, ceremonies, songs, dances, and things like that, which I feel privileged. To grow up around, elders and my teachers and things like that, and also be able to have hip hop.
Right.
So, when they identified with that in their way, maybe early on in their careers, it inspired them a little bit, because I remember the songs. I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
And probably somewhere along the line, maybe that inspired me.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down on that Wikipedia, you'll see Quese IMC in there.
Of course you're in
Early
there.
pioneer.
Of course.
So what I think is what we're straying from is the government put in place blood quantum, and people believe that in order to be native you have to have a certain amount of blood.
Right.
That's the only way. But that was put in place to erase our people. So like he said, they think 100 years ahead every time they put these things in place. So they're like, oh, let's see if they'll last on the reservation where you can't farm because it's terrible land. You know what I mean? And it's like with the blood quantum, boom. We're supposed to just stay within the tribe, and then 100 years from now, then it's who we gonna get with? You know what I mean? But lineage. Yeah. If you're native, you're native. Yeah. Like I personally don't believe in I'm half native. I'm like, you're native. Yeah. Because most of my cousins in Omaha, they look black. Yeah. Like if you see them, you're like, oh, that's a black man. That's a black woman. Right. But they're native. Yeah. And they're my natives. Yeah. So that's how I see it. Yeah. The thing with the native rapper thing that's valid. What I feel personally right now is we need the native rappers to come up that kind of grew up within the communities that know the balance of the two worlds, which we do walk two worlds. The mainstream society has a certain way that they move, and then native teachings is really community-based, family-based, humility, compassion, show love to the person next to you, uplift. Whereas when we're out here, it's like, get the bag at all costs. Yeah. Dog eat dog, step on, boom, boom, boom. And it's like, okay, that doesn't align with native teachings. So there's two worlds. And I think that's an interesting and needed perspective that needs to be brought forward for native rappers. Because right now, again, I'm not super tapped. I'm not super tapped into what was before me. But I know right now I look around, I'm like, there's no one that I can say that person is from where I'm from.
Right.
Not saying exactly from the rest, but if you're from the people, you understand the people. And that's, I could go down to the Dene territories down there in the Southwest. I could go to Blackfoot people, you know, and I could go to all these, and I have to all these different reses, and I connect with them because there's a certain way. If you're from the people, you're from the people. And I think that's a perspective that needs to be brought forward. So not to say, nah, because that is valid.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that right now it's more so let's get someone that's from where we're from.
Gotcha.
That has the teachings that grew up. I'm Native, and this is the Native struggle. This is the unique Native struggle that we can bring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not ever the one to sit there and say, oh no, because you wasn't connected or you're reconnecting. Because that for me, it's like, come home.
Yeah.
You know, and we're your people. This is your people. You're us. That's how I feel about it.
Definitely. So let me ask you, I've always wanted to ask this question, but I've always been scared. When Sugar Hill Gang, and you're old enough to know,
Damn.
when they
Damn, Chuck.
my fault. When they did Apache, was that offensive? Like when you heard it was that song offensive?
You know, Chuck, I don't even remember that song.
You don't remember that song? You seriously?
Sugar Hill Gang Apache?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you talking about
Apache. Yeah.
Oh, the B-Boy jam.
Yeah.
That's the jam.
No, the song though.
Oh, they made a remix? I'm sorry, New
Never
York.
mind. Forget it.
I'm sorry, New York.
You
I didn't
know,
hear that one. I missed that
I'm
one.
trying to play games. Like, I don't remember that one. I do that too sometimes. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. So talk to me about what you guys are up to now. What are you working on now?
Shit. Well, I would say right now, the last album I dropped was called Land Back Planets in the Moon. You know, put that out and then just started working. Working, you know, taking a different route. Recently coming back to the music, doing some shows and just realizing that, you know, hip hop, man, is just spirit to it. You know, something about it, man, it just uplifts my spirit.
Yeah.
It brings me back to life. You know, working in this everyday grind, you know what I mean? Almost can damn near just destroy your spirit sometimes, you know, when you're not operating out of your gift. You know, for me to come out here to New York, you know, big shout out to Sis, you know, Ajaha, you know, giving us the opportunity. You know, it's, you know, sometimes people are put in your life, you know, to reach out to you, you know, in certain times in your life and say, hey, bro, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, aho, dudahe, you know, make the journey, make those power journeys, you know, spiritual journeys. And so, you know, for me, one thing that I've realized probably in the last 2 weeks, man, like, you know, you got to do what makes you happy. You know, you got to do what moves your spirit. And sometimes, man, maybe I'm not the one that's supposed to be at a cashier. You feel me? Maybe I'm not supposed, you know, props to everybody who does that. I did it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think about it. I think of the journey, you know, touring the world, doing all these shows, and then just coming back to the simplest place in life, but realizing, man, there's more. Yeah. You know, and so for me, I'm looking at that, you know, making my prayers to Creator and the ancestors, and being like, all right, where does this music want to go? Does the music want to go anywhere else? But for whatever reason, here I am. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Soaking up this game from you, getting this energy, this positive energy, and loving music. So wherever the music goes.
I just want to say something real quick to some of what you just said. And it's funny, when last time we met and talked, I was in a whole different space in life, right? And I told you a story, but I wasn't totally truthful in my story. I told you about my cousin, and I told you how he was depressed and he was down. And you gave me some sweetgrass to give him. But I was actually talking about myself. Oh, wow. Yeah, I was literally talking about myself, but I just didn't want to put that out there at that time. And you gave that to me, and it really helped. Like, it was really what I needed at that time in my life. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to say that, you know, I appreciate you so much for that.
What I'm working on currently is I'm releasing the vault. I have 2 years, 3 years worth of music of making the ones, right? And they're still the ones, but now I have like 35, 40 the ones.
Okay.
So I'm going to start releasing those from now until the end of the year.
Okay.
Because I'm working out of Make Believe Studios on my second album.
Okay.
To this point in my career, I only have one album out called Dimensions. Working on the second album called Native Rapper. And it's pretty much addressing what it is to be a native rapper. Native rapper is a lot of times used as almost like a derogatory term, like something to offend somebody. You're just a native rapper. Almost like calling someone a local rapper. You're just a local rapper.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, I'm selling shows out. I'm making way more than I would have been making as a good electrician in one show. So this is what it is to be a native rapper, to be ridiculed, but also be successful. You know what I mean? All these things. So I'm working on that project and built All Season up into an official business. Like I said, taking the route and the inspiration from NIT to build a business. We have the nonprofit and for-profits. It's all still in the works, but we're legally able to accept funding and accept donations.
Okay.
We work with the Foundry. They've been super helpful and got help along the way, and really like all the help from Indian Collective, a major organization founded by the bro Nick Tilson out in Rapid City, South Dakota. They do a lot of work within the movement, and they're just always on the front lines, like bringing the information native to Indian country, pretty much, and being in support of other movements as well.
Yeah.
But working on that, we have some like 24 acres we're working on getting in Omaha to build facilities to start housing and flying in young native artists that want to pursue careers within music and film.
Okay.
And we want to kickstart careers. We have a lot of people on board that's going to help, like Grammy nominated producers and engineers within Omaha that are down to come help and teach. You know what I mean? Yeah, Najaha sits on our board of All Season. And, you know, I feel like we have a solid team.
She's a
queen.
She's a gem.
Joe.
I wish I had some flowers here.
He handles the admin now. But I want to shout out Gunnar Jules and 2 for 1 for being there to help build the business side up until this point. But yeah, working on that. So I just want to put that out there and put on everyone's radars if you want to support native business and support a movement and, you know, find that something worth investing in. You know, that's what we have at All Season is kickstarting careers that are often overlooked in our communities. On the res, you're a superstar if you're a star basketball player.
Right.
That's what gets you to travel, because you get to go travel to go play basketball.
Right.
And so the athletes are like held high.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So rappers, singers, actors, the arts, right? They're just like, hey, go on.
Got it.
So that's what we're coming in to do, is to say, no, we need to hold them up here too, because people just need to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? Sometimes for us, the native way, we believe it to see it. But, you know, we got to bring that back. And, you know, we just want to bring that belief back. That woe inshallah, that's what that means to believe. But yeah, I'm working on that and the new album. So that's what I have working.
All right.
I would say also too, like he was saying, like for me, basketball, man, like being a coach, AAU basketball coach. I got a nephew, Miko Frijo Bobo, baller, you know, little 8th grader, shooting threes, lights out threes, just to see the next generation, you know, passing those skills on to the next generation, man, is amazing. Like with my son, you know, he's a spiritually blessed young man, been on TV shows for like, you know, Psychic Kids. We do paranormal shows on A&E and Discovery Plus. We had the opportunity to do TV shows. Did a TV show with Kesha and stuff, man.
That's crazy.
So it's fun, man. You know, like these other things. If I'm not doing hip hop, then doing these paranormal shows on TV. So, you know, it's like,
I gotta look for that.
yeah, it's like a little balance, you know, like to have a balance. Kesha, Native American Mystery Explorers and Native American Paranormal Project. So I do paranormal too. So, you know, I love music, but I had to find other balances, you know, like other things that I do, you know, so that's one of the things that we do, you know, and connect into that spiritual world.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all for coming through once again. And final words, where can people find you?
You can find me Quese IMC on Twitter or X. It's QUESE IMC on IG. It's QUESE_IMC. And check out my music, Land Back Planets in the Moon, and be looking out for our new just shows coming up. You know, everything we got coming up, and yeah, glad to be here. Culture Shock Camp. Shout out my family, Shock B, my sister Hat, mom, brothers, sisters, all my family, all the people, and yeah, Data chicks to iri wait to hidi mahi mado.
Yeah. uh, yeah, I just want to thank you guys for having us, allowing us the time to speak and, you know, share our words with the people. And yeah, follow me on all platforms at AntoineX Music, ANTOINE, the letter X, and music on all platforms. And if you're going to Spotify or anything, it's just AntoineX. Just follow on the platforms and keep up with the movement.